what's happening is that gradient of management of these mechanisms is now being monetized in a lot of ways.
This episode is made possible by OITVOIP. Find your best-in-class revenue generation for MSPs all over the world. Learn more via the link in the show notes.
Good morning and welcome to the July 16th episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. My name's Tony Francisco, and today I'm going solo with small appearances from Ray Orsini, who's not actually here right now, but here is Ray. And we're going to jump right into this. In my first story from Engadget.com, massive AT&T data breach impacted nearly every single customer. AT&T confirmed a massive data breach in 2022 affected all of its customers, or nearly all of their 110 million wireless subscribers. Hackers stole phone numbers, text data, and phone records, but not the content of the call or texts. The breach spanned from May to October 2022, with some data stolen until January 2023. While call times and dates were not included, the breach did involve site identification numbers, which could reveal the user's locations. AT&T attributed the breach to its cloud partner Snowflake, which has also impacted other companies. In addition, the company says stolen data was not publicly available and is working with law enforcement, who has arrested at least one suspect. In this particular case, we're going to discuss right now with Ray, who is not here right now. Ray, thank you very much. And I'd just like to remind you that silence is consent. So be quiet if you agree with me. Thank you, Ray. This is important for everyone to understand that the site that was breached and the call itself are completely separate, meaning there is a management software and the logging of the call, but the text itself has not been stolen. So it sounds like there was a breach, and I'm just saying this off the top of my head through a brief assessment. It sounds like the logging files were in some way compromised, or the location was compromised, and that is separate from the ability to record the calls or recall the text itself. So I want everyone to understand the very, very close entanglement between the data that's being transported in some capacity, and then the data that is used to log the transport for management and analytics. But this is a pretty big story. I'm hoping that we stay on top of this because 110 million customers, that's quite a bit. Wouldn't you agree, Ray? He's quiet. That means he agrees. And jumping into my second story from Reuters.com, Net Neutrality rules reinstatement temporarily halted by U.S. Appeals Court. The U.S. Appeals Court has temporarily halted the FCC's reinstatement of net neutrality rules until August 5th to consider legal challenges from the broadband industry. The FCC voted in April to reinstate these rules, originally adopted in 2015 and rescinded in 2017 under President Trump. These net neutrality rules require internet service providers to treat all data and users equally, prohibiting practices like blocking or slowing down traffic and paid prioritization. Reinstating these rules has been a priority for President Biden, who encouraged the FCC to act through 2021 executive orders. Previously, under Trump, the FCC argued that such rules were unnecessary and stifled innovation, a point contested by Democrats. So again, we are going to discuss this with Ray, who is very quiet. Remember, Ray, silence is consent. Good. There is an excellent connective tissue between all of the policies that we implement and the processes that are allowed to work in a functional and scalable manner. There is no inherited obligation to use a mechanism in a specific way. And what's happening is that gradient of management of these mechanisms is now being monetized in a lot of ways. And the restriction of the governing or the gradient that they are trying to play it, implemented at a presidential level, has been removed, but it's been argued both sides. From the player that's trying to regulate it, monetize it, they're saying, hey, listen, this actually costs money. And Netflix is, over half the traffic on the internet. Why am I building and maintaining all this stuff for this one vendor? I should be able to charge them or prioritize other traffic around them. The other side, as all of us out there want to invent the app of the century, we're saying, why do I have to pay more? I'm just a small guy trying to have a piece of the open internet. So there's arguments on both sides. And I feel like There are incentives in some capacity. I feel like there's a lot of verbal Ebola coming from both sides. The elasticity is very clear to everyone, but at some point, this is going to reach a supernova status that is going to explode. And I'm really interested to hear this. Ray, I can hear Ray agrees as well. Thank you for listening, everyone. And if this particular story was insightful for you, if it was intriguing for you, please subscribe to this channel. Pass it on. These stories are compressed. In this particular case, you have normally two co-hosts talking about this, arguing about it. We both, Ray, thank you very much for agreeing with this. I love that. We both agree in this particular time, but please subscribe. We also have, I think there is if there's only a place that you could chat about this online in 3, 2, 1, bam. Oh, look at this. Look at that. That was incredible. The Discord server, jump in the conversation. There's a lot of us having a lot of active engaged, we'll call them passionate conversations, not yelling, totally yelling at each other. Get on the Discord server. MSP Dispatch is the place to be. Please stay educated out there and be safe.
If you found this episode eye-opening, catch more MSP Dispatch at 10 a.m. throughout the week. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.